Greetings, visionaries. This is your host, the INFJ Visionary. Once more into the breach. I was thinking about being an INFJ. Of course, I am always doing that. Especially so when it comes time to sit down and chat with you. And one of the things I was thinking about was we talked a little bit about narrative on one of our previous broadcasts, but yeah, I was checking out another video from old Ren there, and he's been on a pretty good streak lately. And not really going to talk much about what he was talking about because he was talking about SI users, and we all know them. But like I was saying again in another broadcast, we know these types, these other types. We don't always know. We don't always think, oh, SI user. We just go, oh, that's a certain type of person. And you know what? I did think of a good analogy for that the other day because I make music. And I know all the notes. I know the notes intimately, but I do not know their names. I have never actually sat down and trained my ear to play an A and know it was an A, or a B and know it was a B. But I know every note intimately and use them all the time. And I think our knowledge of the other archetypes is very similar, unless you apply yourself to putting this knowledge in a linear fashion in the front of your brain. Um, you're not going to be thinking about somebody, oh, this is an SI user. You just go, oh, this kind of person. All right. Yeah, I know what I'm dealing with here. SI users, okay, God love them. We have lots of them in our lives. I think there's more of them than there are of us by good ways. One thing Ren was saying is like, and this touched on something I'd said in that very same video that same day. I don't care about all the points that get me to the answer. If I get to the answer and I know the answer is true, I'm satisfied. Now, lots of times, you're not alone in this world, and other people are going to want answers. Especially, like I said, if you're in business or something like that, you can't just have these NI insights and move on them. You'll have to backtrack and pick up the trail of crumbs and lay it all out for other people that might be involved, and that's all good. But we really don't care much. We care about whatever we care about, and then our mind kicks into gear and we start accruing insights about it. That's how we operate. And obviously, I think especially when you're younger, you're using intuition, you test it, you see it's true. It's kind of like you can walk out on the thin ice, so to speak, the thin ice of intuition, and we can go quite far into that lake without falling through, because we know where the soft spots are. We know. And that's another point I brought up in my last video. We are the knowers. We have a knowing. Now, your SI person, they know things as well, but they are really into why is it true. I need to know why this is true. I need to know all of the things that go into making this true before I'll believe it's true. And that's not us at all. This is a huge difference. And I did have a very interesting, I had a lovely lady. She was a student of mine, and she was an ISFJ. So really interesting to sit side by side with her and work in the studio and teach her art and stuff because I already knew her personality. Like we were friends for a long time before she came to learn from me. And I am a bit conspiratorially minded. Let's face it, because the world isn't what they're telling us it is on TV, if there is any TV anymore. You know what I'm saying. Um, so I tell her this, I tell her that, and she go, "Oh, but you're crazy, da 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 da. Oh, you just believe things for no reason." That kind of thing. I'm sure you've experienced it. People think we believe things for no reason because they don't really want to engage with our ideas about what's going to happen. And obviously, just as likely as we'll get very little credit when what we predicted will happen does happen. It'll be more like, oh well, yeah, I knew it was going to happen too, that kind of thing. You can't be mad. You can't be mad. They don't have like vision. Actually, that's one of the reasons I call this channel INFJ Visionary. That's what we have. We have vision. We know things. We can see things coming, and we're not always right, but right enough that we don't worry about it. We just trust it. We use it. And the more you trust it, the more you use it, the better it works for you. I'm sure you all have realized this. And, this is the water you're swimming in. So I don't need to get too deep into that. But this tied into storytelling as well, though. I was thinking it's like one of the reasons we tell stories about things. We do it so automatically and in a sense unconsciously that it's easy not to even notice that you're a storyteller if you're not paying attention. You're just doing it all the time. You're making little stories up about this and about that. And the stories is the meaning. And the meaning is what we search for a lot more, say, than the facts. We want to know what things mean. We want to know how one thing relates to other things. And as we've discussed previously, I know really at a very deep level that very little in this world has intrinsic meaning. Pretty much everything that has meaning because it has meaning to you. Now, famous movie. Again, I'm going to date myself. It was called Network. Came out in the 70s. It was really created a stir at the time because you had this television anchor who, he was just towing the line, being the regular, telling the news. And one day he just broke and he said, I'm mad as hell. I'm not going to take anymore, And he just started telling the truth on TV. And at first, the network people were going mad, but then they saw the ratings went crazy, so they let him keep going. And there was one little clip. People use these clips all the time in various videos. You'll definitely see it. He says, "I'm a human being, damn it. My life has meaning." That's what he said. I was thinking about that. Does our life have meaning to something bigger than us? Will our life have meaning to the AI entity that'll be running stuff? We hope so. We hope so. It's a given, though, isn't it? That idea that human life has meaning, and does it? Well, we are obviously quite prejudiced. We're sitting in a position where we're being human, and so obviously it's going to have meaning to us. But does it have meaning to the world, to the universe? We don't know. Maybe one day we'll find out. But in the world of humans, human life does have meaning. It certainly does. And this is something I'm bringing up now because I think this is really crucial to the story that humanity is going to be telling itself. And INFJ as the sort of the narrator for humanity, the storyteller, in a lot of ways I think we might be the ones telling the story just ahead of the story being realized, if that makes sense. We're just right ahead of it. And I put out videos about this phenomenon. It's not glaring or obvious from the titles because, let's face it, your host to the visionary tends to ramble. But the rambling is intentional because I know that you can complete the circuit. I know that I don't have to create a complete narrative. I can give you bits and pieces, and then you can weave the narrative from the part of reality that you're holding up. And that's valuable. Now, this channel probably, with this sort of approach, it won't attract a lot of people, but the people it does attract are the people that need to hear this sort of talk, right? And maybe I just impart a few ideas, and you'll ruminate on them if you're like me. You'll ruminate on them, and you'll start connecting them to other ideas, and then life will have a little bit more meaning for you that day, right? which is valuable. I think we need to have meaning, even though nothing actually seems to have intrinsic meaning, even human life itself. But it certainly has meaning to me, as does this broadcast. And please congratulate me on my 50th broadcast. I'm so happy to be here with you.